Namaskar. We spend years upgrading our careers, homes, and lifestyles. But how often do we upgrade ourselves? Join Jayaji for a powerful spiritual retreat designed to help you pause, reflect, and reconnect with what truly matters. Over 2 immersive days, discover how to manage your thoughts, strengthen relationships, and bring clarity to life's decisions. Enroll today for insightful conversations, yoga, nature, and shared laughter. Shift inward, shine outward. For details and registration, click the link in the description box. Join Jayaji's WhatsApp community to receive updates on all activities in your city. Now, let us continue chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita.
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
Any questions? So last time we had taken a look at how things would have been different if only we had known certain truths. And these truths are enunciated in the Bhagavad Gita. So recently I met a lady who told me that when she was young, she met with this guy who was very polished, aristocratic, gentle, everything was okay with him, except that he was a heavy drinker. And she fell in love with him and wanted to marry him. But her entire decision was based on the premise that she would be able to change him. What happens? Can you change? No. So after 19 years of suffering, she finally called it quits. Okay? Now she says, if only I had known the fact, the truth, that you can't change anybody, which is put forward in the Bhagavad Gita in various places, but definitely in chapter 3, verse 28, where he says, Guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. Gunas function, means nature functions. If you are an angry person, you will be angry. If you are a crook, you will be a crook. It's very difficult to change vasanas. You know, vasanas are deep-rooted tendencies which don't just go. Now look at it this way. I'm sure all of us are aware of the faults that we have. At least one fault you're aware, right? Maybe you're quick-tempered, or you're disorganized, or you're unpunctual, or whatever it is. And you have been putting an effort to overcome that. Have you succeeded? Then how can you expect another person who doesn't even know that it's a weakness? He is quite okay with it. Her husband was okay drinking. But how do you expect him to change? So that this is one of the fundamental truths of life that we must learn. Because we all live on the premise that, oh, I'll change this person. And I keep saying this, the last person on earth that you can change is your spouse. So don't even try that. You're in for a lot of disappointment. So this is one verse. If she had learnt just one verse from the Gita when she was a young girl, she would have spared herself 19 years of torture. And thereafter, so the repercussions she is going through even now. Similarly, we saw last week the importance of Swadharma, of identifying your core interest, your talent, your passion in life. So when we meet here, it's not about, oh, I have nothing better to do, so let me go to class. You must come with the conviction that I am going to learn something that will make my life easier, my life happier, my life more successful, or whatever it is. Then there is consistency, then you will come every week. Otherwise now it's like taking a walk in the park. You feel like it, you come, you don't feel like it, you don't come. It doesn't work like that. Nothing in the world works unless you are persistent, consistent, and you keep at it whether you like it or not. Everybody says that. Roger Federer said that. Who's that swimmer? Michael Phelps said that. Whether I was well or not, whether I felt like it or not, whether it was summer or winter, I went out and practiced. So it's not just about talent. And it pays rich dividend. How many? He got the maximum number of Olympic awards, right? Medals. You don't get that by sleeping and saying, oh, if I feel like it, I'll go. If I don't feel like it, I won't go. Similarly, you want to live life happily, successfully, with a purpose, with a mission in life. You can't come like you're walking in the park. It must be backed by conviction. Whether you like it or not, you must come. And everything else must revolve around it. So, and I'm not just talking about class here, please, don't get me wrong. It's not a fanatic attachment to a particular thing. But when you have a goal in mind, you must be at it. You want to develop yourself, you must declare war on your own negativities. One by one. Like in India, one common trait all Indians have. You want to know, when you travel abroad, you want to know, at least for me, if the majority of the audience is Indian, you know what will happen? 70% will come after the talk begins. Punctuality is not in our genes. I don't mean Jeans, Gens. So, and you can't say, I'm not always late, I'm not often late. You don't know, you see, the fact that you don't know you come late is the problem. So the first step is awareness. You must be aware. Do you know in America, that I give lectures there, and during their lunchtime, because they will not sacrifice their working time, their lunchtime, which is 12:30 to 1:30, let's say, till 12:29, not a single person is in that auditorium. 12:30 they walk in. The talk gets over at 1:30. Fortunately, I stop on the dot. 1:31 the hall is empty. Because they are aware of punctuality. They are aware of time. You know what we do? We stroll in aaram se. Half an hour late, usually. And after it is over, I don't mean you people here, generally. Because they know each other, they'll hang around chatting, what are you doing tomorrow, which movie are you watching? what is that? Series on Netflix is good. No such thing. They come, they attend, they leave. So you must, one by one, you must look at your negativities and tackle them, declare war on them. The fact that you don't feel for people, you give value to objects over human beings. Like the driver who drives you around. Have you ever wondered what life is like for them? They have to sit around in the sun waiting for you to come. You haven't told them what time you're coming. And so they use the AC of the car. You must accept it as operational loss, not get after them. Of course they're going to use the AC, whether you like it or not. If you want a driver, you must accept it, that they will use the AC on a hot day. It's simple things like that. And you get agitated over it. And then you sack the guy. And then every 6 months you have a new driver. Every 3 months you have a new servant. It cannot be. You must put yourself in that other person's shoes and think. At least you must say, I'm going to have dinner, you also have dinner. You can't he can't be on his toes waiting for you to emerge. We still have that feudal mentality in India, in spite of the fact that that zamindari system is well gone. You go abroad. First of all, you can't afford a driver there. But even if you have one, you treat the guy with respect, otherwise he'll say, go to hell. You have a maid, you treat that maid with respect. There, she will sit on the same dining table as you and eat exactly what you eat. You will not object there. But our own people you choose to put down. That is the most horrible thing to do. Be aware of it, tackle it. So whatever that thing is, because otherwise, and then after all that you want to sit in meditation, what are you going to meditate on? Whether your servant is eating your paneer or not, that is your meditation. Unless you have this, like Buddha said, loving nature, you must treat your staff like part of the family. Share your stuff with them. So what if they eat paneer? It's not gold. And if you don't do all that, then they're going to steal your gold. Watch out for it. So that's the thing. And as you learn and as you get over one quality at a time, tackle one quality at a time, you become so triumphant. You see the power that it gives you. You learn to be punctual. It empowers you. Because you know what it means? You're an organized person. You learn to feel for people. You learn to give. Yesterday I was telling someone who's super rich, incidentally, that nobody has the attitude of giving. Someone else is in trouble. A family member is in trouble. Neighbor is in trouble. One of your society members is in trouble. Whatever it is. And I'm not talking about just giving money. Give your time, give your attention, just spend time with the person, whatever it is. Even money. What are you going to do with that money that you have? You're never going to use it, right? Because you want to save it for a rainy day, which is okay. So it's just lying there. And when you die, you're not going to carry it with you, right? So why can't you share a little bit? At least be fair to people. And don't say, oh, I'm not rich. Neither am I. But richness doesn't mean having excess money. You will have a surplus only when you minimize your needs. You will live a simple life. Then you will have plenty. You will always have surplus. What do you do with the surplus? Share it. And mind you, Vedanta does not say you must deny yourself anything. Because in India we had kings who had wealth the likes of which you can't even imagine now. King Janaka. Krishna himself was wealthy. So Vedanta is not against wealth. What Vedanta is against is your penny pinching, miserly attitude. Because then you become poor. Irrespective of how much wealth you have. Right? If you don't have it in you to share what you have, then you're a poor person. You know the definition of richness? Your desire, your income or your assets must always be more than your desires. You get it? As long as you keep that, you can have the whole world. Nobody says no to that. But the problem is when your desires exceed your income, then what happens? EMIs. Having an EMI as a convenience is one thing. But adding on your EMIs because you cannot afford to pay upfront is the problem. That's why you see so many youngsters nowadays running around in luxury cars. What is their income? What percentage of their income goes in paying the EMIs? That is what is shocking. And then you're not factoring in illness, accidents. What happens when you lose your job? Who's going to pay your EMI? Things like this. So when your desires are well within your income, and they will be well within your income when you work for a higher cause, then you're not looking at running after brands. That's not the be all and end all of your life. Look at Americans, the billionaires. There's this guy Chuck Feeney, right? He was a billionaire in dollar terms, not rupees. He wore a watch, a Casio watch that cost $15, 15. He didn't think he was any the less. And nobody gave him less attention because he had that $8 billion. So you earn that kind of money because you have that merit, then you don't care. Steve Jobs wore the same turtleneck t-shirt and jeans, irrespective of where he was. He could be going to a wedding, he could be going to a shareholders meeting, he could be meeting the President of the United States. He didn't care. And nobody else cared. Why? Because he added value. He brought value with him. So the poverty of thinking is to believe that if I wear a Rolex watch, people will think the better of me. You get it? So there's nothing wrong in wearing a Rolex watch. It's something wrong in the attitude with which you buy it. You get it? Once you have that merit within, you can do what you like. You can wear a dhoti and run around. You can wear jeans and run around, and chappals and run around. You can do what? You can wear a $15 watch and people will still respect you. On the other hand, you can wear all the expensive brands that you want, but you don't have merit within you. Nobody will give you time of day. You will become a laughing stock of the world, which is what is happening. In London, I met the very senior manager of one of the most expensive brands. You know what he told me? He said their market is largely Chinese and Indian. And I was surprised. So he says, yeah, Chinese and Indian women, because the brand was for ladies thing. So he said, yeah, because that is where maximum number of brainless women are. No non-thinkers. The really rich in the Western world don't wear brands. Do you know that? Do you know that? They don't wear brands. They will refuse to carry anything or wear anything which carries the brand name, because they don't want to advertise these products for free. Not just for free, they are paying. So they make exclusive things which have no brand name. You know why? Because they are the brand. Live like that, friends. Live life in such a way that you become a brand unto yourself. Like Gandhiji. Winston Churchill called him a half-naked fakir. Where is Winston Churchill and where did Gandhiji go? What does it matter if stupid people call you names? You develop merit. The world will honor you. And it has nothing to do with expensive brands. So, the Bhagavad Gita enables you to add value to yourself. And then it doesn't matter whatever you wear or don't wear. Verse 10.
Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi sthitaha ekaki yata chittatma nirashira parigraha.
The yogi, being alone in a secluded place, must constantly unite with the self, with mind and body subdued, free from desire and without possession. So with this verse, we move to the next topic of this chapter, preparation for meditation. So you see, meditation is a highly subtle operation. And it requires years of preparation. So from the starting point of your spiritual journey, what are you doing? Control of the mind. Getting the mind calm. Getting the mind back from where it's wandering to the world. And here in chapter 6 is a person whose mind has got there. And this is the last minute preparation. So preparation doesn't start here. Preparation has started long back. So the first thing he says is, the yogi. Yogi is not a guy who just does pranayam and exercises. A yogi is one who's constantly trying to unite with Atman, with God. So, being alone in a secluded place. So, spirituality cannot be done by jamming. What is that? Bhajan jamming. It doesn't happen with jamming. It has to be alone by yourself in a quiet place, not where noise is happening. must constantly unite with the self, with mind and body subdued. So the first thing is your body and mind must be subdued, controlled. How? With what do you control the body and mind? Intellect. And what is the practice to be followed? Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. These three, and then in the seat of meditation also, the nature of the mind is asthira and chanjala, it will go. That's the nature of the mind, it's like the monkey. So even in the seat of meditation, your intellect must be alert so that you are aware of the first step, first thought that steps out of your chosen thought or mantra. Okay? So let's say you're chanting Om, Om. I called the carpenter home. Huh? First thought goes to carpenter. If you are alert, if your intellect is alert, quickly you will bring the mind back and say, Arey Baba, this is not the time to think of carpenter. So you are back onto Om. But after a while the mind gets very restless, it's going all over the place. That's when you should stop the meditation. Because there's no point there. You know, you'll be just sitting there, your mind is running all over the place. And you don't even know it. And how do you control the body and mind? How do you get the mind to remain where you want it to? Free from desire. Because you must be aware of the fact that where does your mind go? Wherever there is desire. No? So you must be free from desire. How can you be free from desire? Just focus on obligation. What is my obligation right now? A student's obligation, now because with all the exams coming around, student's obligation is to study. A mother's obligation is to run the house properly. An executive's obligation is to work. Whatever, we all have obligation. If you focus on obligation, then the strength of the desire goes down. Because you begin to find fulfillment in the performance of the obligation. No? And all your time goes there. So if you are an architect, all your time goes in architecture, thinking of designs and how to do things, calculations, and various things like that. You have no time to think about what clothes do I wear for Holi. So desire automatically goes down. Then free from possessiveness. When he says possession, it is not that you should not possess anything. It is just that the object should not possess you. You should possess. You buy a new car. The more expensive the car, the more the attachment. Then while your driver is driving, you are sitting in the back. Every time the car hits a pothole, you are saying, you are jumping up. Why? Something will happen to the car. Don't park in this place because the car might get scratched. So what is happening? Your possessiveness and attachment to the car is such that you cannot enjoy that car. You can't enjoy the ride in the car. Who enjoys? People like me. So you buy an expensive car and come and say, it happened once. You know, one of my students went and bought a top of the line Mercedes and very excitedly said, I want to come for a ride in my car. So I sat there with him and I saw what happened to him. He was all tense. Arey Baba, धीरे चलाओ, lane change मत करो, इधर ये करो, वो करो. He was all tensed up. I was relaxed. I was enjoying the ride. What is the difference between him and me? No possessiveness. He had possessive. Now don't say that I didn't own the car. That's not the point. You can be dispossessive even when you own it. Because fundamentally you must understand, in Mumbai city, the moment you buy a car, what is it susceptible to? Scratches. It will get scratches. Now every time the car gets a scratch, you don't have to get, otherwise you know what happens? The car gets a scratch, your blood pressure rises, you have to go to the hospital. And a doctor, you fall in. Does this make sense? And you're certainly not fit for meditation, that's for sure. And then, to be able to do all this, where must your thought be anchored? In the self, means in the goal. Now you may not understand it with reference to spirituality, but from the worldly point of view, take a look at people who have achieved things. Now the football World Cup is coming up in a few months. The training has already started. Okay, not now, years ago. So every player is focused on what? Winning. From all the teams, especially the top leading players like Messi and whatever, their entire attention, they united with football, with the World Cup. Now when that amount of focus is on that, and that amount of desire is for that, then all other desires fade. I've heard players say, I don't care about food. I am happy eating the same food morning, noon and night for years together. Because food is not what makes me tick. What makes me tick? The World Cup. So everything he does is, his mind is controlled, his body is controlled, subdued, and he's free from desire for everything else. Because he has this one overpowering desire. You know, there's this movie called Swimmers. Swimmers, You must watch that. It's a fabulous movie. It's about two Syrian sisters. And you know what condition that Syria is in. The father helps them escape from Syria, war-torn Syria. And they're refugees. So the trials and the challenges they face just to get to Germany. But the younger sister is focused on swimming and she wants to participate in the Olympics. So you see how she trained. They have no facilities whatsoever. But given a chance, she does exercise. She runs around wherever that little space is. And the moment they get to Germany, she finds a swimming pool and she finds a coach there and says, I want to win the Olympics. That guy laughs at her and says, forget it, you're dreaming. She says, no, watch me, give me a chance. Watch me. And that's how she swims, and that guy is absolutely amazed. How does she do it? Thinking. You may not have any facilities. You may not be able to swim for 6 months. You may not be able to do so many things. I mean, as refugees, what nutrition must she be having? But the first chance she gets, she hits the pool. What a way she swims. And then what is important is her older sister, she is not a swimmer, but she has that vision. So she tells her, what a cheap thing you're swimming for. What are you swimming for? For personal glory? Just a medal? Swim for our father who sacrificed so much just so that we could escape. Swim for our country where so many people are suffering. Swim for all the refugees of the world who are going through so much just to survive. And now she gets second wind. So you know what I mean? Unless you have a higher ideal, your energies don't unlock. Your potential does not unlock unless you find a higher reality. So you must not look at only what you're doing, you must look at what am I doing it for? Ask anyone, what are you doing? Are you earning a living? Doing my job? If you have that kind of attitude, you'll remain a clerk all your life, never mind what your designation is. Your mindset will be that of a clerk. But when you have a higher ideal, you could be a peon in the office, but you will have that drive, the motivation, the energy. Today, nobody has that energy. You see people going, I see, because I live at Churchgate, I see people walking to their workplaces. They're dragging their feet. First thing in the morning, if you don't have energy, what work are you going to do? And it's not just people who are walking, people in cars are even worse. The driver has to come, run from the driver's seat and open the door for you. And just getting out of the car, you're tired. It's almost as if somebody has to hold your hand and take you to your office. And what do you do there? Sit the whole time. What do? Press bells. The first thing you must do is banish bells from your homes and offices. You know, in America, the chairman of a company wants a glass of water, he gets up, goes and helps himself. He doesn't have bells. That is why Americans are doing so well. Get up, for God's sake. Even at home it's the same thing. I've seen people, 3 bells. One is for the kitchen, one is for this servant number 1, one is for servant number 2. The less servants you have in the house, the better. You know, I'm speaking from experience. Right now, my staff is at home is badly handicapped because they've gone for a wedding in their gown. And I have to do the work. And I'm energetic. Yeah, you may feel a little tired at the end of the day, but it's good. You wake up in the morning, you have things to do. Do things. Bell rings, go open the door yourself. You want a cup of tea? Make the tea yourself. Don't say, I don't know how to make. Learn. Because the more you work, the more energy you generate. You sit around. First of all, you will put on weight. And then you have no energy. Because there is no mental inspiration. So here is a person who's constantly trying to unite with God, and that's the highest level of inspiration. Obviously you don't have it, but find some inspiration. Yes, see, if you have a fault, like you're saying, a bad temper, just by fixing a higher ideal, you're not going to overcome that. You have to make a concerted effort to rise above that. So why are you getting angry? Because you have a desire, and the desire is interrupted. So when you work for a selfish purpose, then you will get more angry because you have more desires that are interrupted. Right? When you work for a higher ideal, the desires reduce in number and improve in quality. So to that extent, you will get less angry, or the reason for you to get angry will be different. But you will still get angry. Because you are working for a higher cause, somebody doesn't cooperate with you, you lash out at them. So it has to be accompanied by spiritual input, with which you understand that yes, I have a higher inspiration, but others don't have. And everyone works to their level. So then you don't get upset, you don't get angry when someone else doesn't live up to your expectations, but you find other ways of getting around them, of inspiring them, of talking to them about just doing your best and how fulfilling it is, you know. share stories with them. So, unless you have that spiritual input, you don't become a better person.
Like when Krishna was departing from Radha, so she told me what I will do after you go away. See, Krishna told that you see me in everybody. So that is also a kind of meditation.
That's not meditation. But he was trying to get her to rise above the attachment to him, as meaning to his personality, and instead shift focus to Atman, because that's what he was. And to be connected with him, she did not have to be in physical contact with him. She could see him everywhere. So that is one step higher, and he's trying to get her to detach from him. So that's a totally different concept. But yes, in the end she will be able to meditate, but she has to rise above that. No? So when we learn one concept at a time, don't try and mix it up with others. Then you get totally confused. And often people do that. Understand one concept, take it to the end, live it. Take another concept. Then when you do all of this, then you get the overall picture. It's like a painter. When a painter is painting, he has a certain vision in mind, right? So he'll start at one end, he'll do something at the other end. And when his painting is in progress, if you just watch, you say, "Arey, what is this? What is he doing?" You can't see it. But he has a vision, and his job is to create something out of that vision, out of that concept. So he does it. Similarly, we want to create a person of character, a person and who like Shakespeare said, all the world may stand up and say, "This was a man." You want to build yourself to that level. Then you have to take one concept at a time, one trait at a time. You can't mix them up. Yeah. Yes. The question is anger always due to desire? Yes. The desire can be tangible or intangible. So when it's intangible, you may find it a little difficult to identify that desire. Desire or attachment? See, you are attached to a particular person. And like in school, they have best friend. Let's say you are my best friend, and then you become friends with somebody else. I get angry because you are not wholly mine. Right? That's an intangible desire. So, you have to remove disturbances. So, the world itself is a disturbance because there are so many distractions. Therefore, you must be ekaki, alone. We are still on that verse 10. Because he says, being alone in a secluded place. Ekaki, alone. Then sthitaha means your posture. When you are meditating or you are studying, let's say, you must be seated in a way that the body does not disturb you, because otherwise you get aches and pains, your neck starts hurting, that's no use. Mind, so body controlled, mind controlled, senses and mind subdued. See, there are two things. One is through karma, bhakti and jnana yogas, you bring your desires down. The other is, while meditating, if a thought or desire interrupts, you must gently brush it away and say, now I will not deal with you. I'll deal with you later. And then very powerfully suggest to yourself that right now I need to focus here. So the body and mind both get, or you suddenly think of biryani while meditating. Right now you can't think of it. Then intellect must be nirashi. Nirashi means not hopeless. It's always translated as without hope. What it means is you're free from wanting, desiring, craving, longing for things. And yunjita, constantly uniting itself with the subtle intellect, your conscience. If you do all this, then you're fit for meditation. Next verse, 11.
शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य स्थिरमासनमात्मनः नात्युच्छ्रितं नातिनीचं चैलाजिनकुशोत्तरम्.
Shuchau deshe, settled in a clean environment. You know, he's talking about meditation and he refers to a clean environment. Now take a look at us. In our country, there is no awareness of dirt. There is no awareness of cleanliness. There will be dust everywhere and you say, you tell a person there's dust there, nahin, saaf hai. So if you're not even aware of material dirt which you can see, how can you be aware of internal dirt, vasanas, anger, selfishness, crudeness? There's no awareness. You must start with environmental cleanliness. Don't end there. Start there. So, Shuchau deshe. Sthiram asanam means firm seat. If you sit on a soft seat, you can't sit on it for long because you lose your balance. It must be firm, hard. Not too high, not too low. Yeah, na ati nicham, na ati uchritam. Not too high, not too low. Not too low that in those days there used to be scorpions and ants and all crawling. Not too high that you can fall off. Then cloth, skin and kusha grass. Now don't go looking for all this. It's a comforter, folded twice is more than enough on a hard floor. Because, now why is he going into all these details? Is because the subtler the operation, the greater is the disturbance. Like, you have these drawbridges, they're called drawbridges, right? Where you weigh the truck, the contents of a truck. Weighbridge, yeah. So there, a few kilos here and there doesn't make a difference because it's all weighed in tons. Then you come to the vegetable vendor. I'm not saying a mall, but you go, that sabji wala. He weighs, to him also a few grams here or there doesn't make a difference. But when you go to a chemical lab or a jeweler and they weigh, have you seen what it is? Even your breath disturbs the balance. So in chemistry when you do it, you have to shut the thing and weigh because you're weighing in milligrams and your whole experiment can go wrong if you don't weigh properly. Similarly, here is a highly subtle operation where you're getting the mind to single pointed concentration. 1 minute. You can't afford to have even the slightest distraction. Yes.
I've always wondered why skin is recommended. Is usage of skin at variance with the principles of sattvic articles and non-violence?
No. Please don't get into all this. That's why I said don't even bother about it. A comforter folded twice is enough. There are certain things you don't take literally. See, in those times, they were meditating in the Himalayan cold. They didn't have the facilities like we have of jackets and things. So maybe there's a skin, I don't know. But as from the modern viewpoint, you don't take that. You discard that kusha grass, where are you going to go looking for it? Forget skin. Kusha grass is not available. So you will say, I won't meditate. There are certain things you might just dismiss. Because there is a difference between Yuga Dharma and Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma are values that persist through all times. Yuga Dharma means there are certain things that are applicable at that time only, not for all time. So this is one of them. Next word, 12 and 13 taken together.
तत्रैकाग्रं मनः कृत्वा यतचित्तेन्द्रियक्रियः उपविश्यासने युञ्जात् योगमात्मविशुद्धये समं कायशिरो ग्रीवम् धारयन्नचलं स्थिरः सम्प्रेक्ष्य नासिकाग्रं स्वं दिशश्चानवलोकयन्.
So now he is getting deeper into it. Let one practice yoga union for self-purification. Sitting on the seat there with single-pointed mind, subduing the activities of the body and mind. Then verse 13. Keeping the body, head and neck upright, unmoving and steady, gazing at the tip of the nose without getting distracted. So, again he is talking about mind and body controlled. See, why he is repeating is because people tend to meditate without any pre-meditative practices. You cannot meditate. It's dangerous for you. This body and mind control is an absolute necessity. Therefore, he keeps repeating it. Only then will the mind become single-pointed. How does the mind become single-pointed? Bring down your desires to as much as possible. You know, what happens is, even when you're exposed to the good things of life, so many things, your mind doesn't shift there. See, I travel a lot to different countries, and when I started traveling, all those products were not available here. Now they're available. So we used to go to the mall, we used to be driven around in different luxury cars. You see so many gadgets in the kitchen which are so attractive. So if you have a desire, you know what will happen? I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. You know how you know that a person has a lot of desires? Because by the end of that trip, you have excess baggage. Excess baggage where? Not in your suitcase, in the mind. With this kind of excess baggage, you cannot meditate. Because your mind will constantly be going. So, the moment the thought comes, nice car, lovely gadget. And you know, there are women who are attached to gadgets in the kitchen. And there are kitchens and they have huge spaces. Every kind of gadget in the world will be in that kitchen. But does she use them? No. Why? Because half the time you don't even remember that you have all these gadgets. And then you are in a hurry to cook, so you just do the basics. Half the time you don't even cook. So for what are you gathering all this? And you have to keep thinking. The moment the thought comes in your mind, deal with it. Press the delete button. Not on everything. What you need, what you really want, please entertain. Go out and buy it, bring it back, enjoy it. But you can't be buying all and sundry indiscriminately. You get it? Because and then you know what happens? Most of the stuff that you buy there is relevant there. You come here, it's no longer relevant. Because the whole system is different here. That is why it is so important to get your desires under control. And it's not that difficult. Because when you start using your intellect with the desires, what happens is, what is important for you? You prioritize your desires. What is important for you? You're prepared to pay for it, you're prepared to invest in it, you do it, you're happy. What is a low priority desire? You simply delete. You say, I don't need it. And that's it. So what happens is, what is important for you, you make sure you have. What is not important, doesn't matter. But if you don't use your intellect, you end up getting things of low priority, and what is high priority, you don't get. So, let one practice. So even in meditation, you have to practice. So you start the chant aloud. Aloud means you don't scream. You don't have a mic. Allah. And then slowly bring it down to whispers and make it mental repetition. And even that, you bring that down to mental whispers. And when you are in deep meditation, you're just, the mind by itself remains still. Stop the meditation. And remain in that silence for a while. Oh, I can't tell you how fulfilling that is. You don't feel like getting out of that. That is the power. A still mind. And what are you doing all this for? Self-purification. Not to go to parties and boast about your meditation practice. Just quiet self-purification. So it's like this, on a lake. Suppose it's raining and leaves are falling, and from inside the lake there are bubbles. And there is a strong breeze, so there are waves on the surface. But all this is happening. Can you see your reflection in the water? No. So what must happen? That water must be still. And then, I don't know whether you've seen it, in a lake or in a body of water, you can see your reflection so clearly, it's like a mirror. That is what happens in meditation. When your mind is totally still, you see. What do you see? What do you see? Yourself. You see yourself there. There means not outside you, but in the mind only. You see it there. But immediately you understand it here. It's like when you see a spot on your cheek in the mirror, you don't go and wipe that mirror. What do? Just take a tissue and wipe your cheek. Like that. You see it there, understand it here. Fantastic. So it's an objective vision, a subjective understanding. It's an objective sadhana practice, but subjective experience. Throughout the entire spiritual path is like that. It is measurable outside because you're doing things outside, but the result is internal. It's a subjective experience. Then he goes into posture. Again, keeping the next verse, 13. Keeping the body, head and neck erect. You must practice this. We all slouch. You understand the difference? Because like this, when your head, neck and body is, your spine is straight, upright. You can sit in that posture for a longer time without feeling aches and pains. Then sthiram and achalam. Because the mind has two movements. The mind, your thought goes from one place to another. There are two kinds of movements generally, even externally. And the other is at one place you move. Like right now, I am sitting in one place, my hands are moving. So there are two kinds of movements even in the mind. So you must achieve that. And then gazing at the tip of the nose means, see, when you are planning and scheming, and particularly you are planning the downfall of others, you never look straight. Where do you look? All over. Because you are not straightforward. But in meditation, you should be absolutely upfront, straightforward. The gaze, even after your eyes shut, should be in the center and slightly upward so that it's meditative. In fact, your third eye is supposed to be somewhere there. Not looking around. Every little sound that comes, you don't need to know what's happening. Suppose the bell rings. You should tell your mind, right now I am focusing here. Nothing else matters. So everything else goes into the background. And you know what? When you're totally concentrated, you don't even hear the doorbell. You don't hear because you're concentrating. The mind is not wandering. The intellect is firmly in place. You've got so far. 13th verse. Now 14.
प्रशान्तात्मा विगतभिः ब्रह्मचारी व्रते स्थितः मनः संयम्य मच्चित्तः युक्तासीत मत्परः.
Let one sit absorbed in union with me as the supreme goal. With mind subdued. See how many times he's saying again and again. Tranquil and fearless. Focused on me. Abiding by the vow of brahmacharya. Now all this requires explanation, otherwise you'll completely misunderstand. So again he's talking about the preparation. First of all, prashanta, the mind is shanta, tranquil. Prashanta, supremely tranquil. Because the desires have reduced, the mind is focused, poised, ready to take off. It's like a spacecraft, you do all the preparation and there the rocket is sitting, it's about to take off. That's the state of your mind. Vigata bhihi, fearless. In the Ishavasya Upanishad, the student towards the end is on the verge of realization and with confidence because he's done his utmost. He hasn't left anything undone. So he declares, he says, remove the covering that is shielding the sun. Sun means Atman, means that last thought, take it away. He says it with confidence because he knows I deserve it. And he's completely fearless. Like Prahlada had no fear. His own father tried to kill him. Got elephants to trample upon him, the venom of snakes. He tried to push him off a cliff. And the last was this fire. He was not in the least bit afraid. And this is what surrender does. You have faith. What does faith mean? You've done your best. You work very hard. And that last minute, you surrender. You say, now God, I've done my best. Now it's your turn. Like a student. I was telling a student the other day, so why are you getting nervous? Don't get nervous. You do your best. Go to the exam. Absolutely chill. Why? Because then you must have something that you connect with. So this girl had Ganesha, Ganpati. So I said, you have faith in Ganpati? Now just surrender and say, Ganesha, now I've done my best. It's up to you. And whatever you do, I will accept. No? Then your mind is calm and you sail through the exam without any nervousness. So that's it. Vigata bhi. You're fearless because you've done everything within your power. Brahmacharya is not celibacy. It is translated as celibacy. Even here it is written as celibacy. It is just sense control. So, we either, the vast majority of us, do senseless indulgence. So there is good food, have it. Good sights, enjoy yourself. If you can afford it, have the best. Your enjoyment of the senses is not determined by the affordability. Is determined by what? Correct, your desires. So externally you may have a lot of wealth, but internally you don't have that desire. You know, I have known billionaires. Their food is very simple. Simpler than ordinary people. Because they've had the best. They have access to the best. So what do they value? Simple ghar ka khana. You go to 5-star hotels, they offer that. Nowadays. I've noticed. And then you think, the guy goes to a 5-star hotel and orders ghar ka khana. What sense does that make? But that's what it is. Simplicity. Brahmacharya is not unintelligent self-denial. It is not senseless indulgence. What brahmacharya is when you, literally it means walking in the path of Brahman. So when you fix a goal, any enjoyment that comes in the way of the pursuit of your goal, you say no to it. Like the Indian cricket team, I remember in London, went, I think they were playing Pakistan, India, it was an India-Pakistan match. Look at the difference. Both the Indian and Pakistani teams were invited to a party the day before. Indian team went. So they had a late night, they drank more than they should, they ate more than they should, next day lost. Pakistani team said, no thank you. They ate early, they went to sleep early, they weren't prepared for the match. This is brahmacharya. Nadal, when he was playing at the Wimbledon once, was invited by the Queen to tea. Now this is not an invitation that everybody gets. Have you been invited by the Queen of England? But Nadal thought about it. And he wrote a very respectful reply to the Queen saying, Your Majesty, I am very honoured by this invitation, but I have come here to play tennis. And if I come to tea, my rhythm will get upset. So, unfortunately, I will be denied the pleasure of the tea. He did not go. And he won the Wimbledon title that year. So that is brahmacharya. Okay? After the Wimbledon final, if the Queen had invited him to tea, he would have said yes, gone and had full tea. Everything under the sun. One day before the cricket match, you cannot go to a party. But after the cricket match, you can party till the cows come home. No problem. You see the difference? Both are brahmacharya. Okay? So, like Buddha called it the Madhya Pantha, middle path. Middle path is what you need to follow. Think before you do things. And then you enjoy life. This way is mad indulgence. You don't enjoy. Then, mana sanyamya, mind control. You don't fall prey to surface emotions or to negativities. You know, if at all we have emotions, we become victim of that emotion, where you don't think and you fall. That is not that. Don't fall in love, rise in devotion. So true love is where you rise. Machitta, intellect on me. So the intellect is constantly thinking of the higher. And mat paraha, me as supreme, subtle intellect. So you see, in this one verse, is your entire personality is geared towards just getting to that goal. You start by, forget God, you start by fixing a goal for yourself, whatever that goal is. Let's say you fix a goal, I must lose 10 kilos by December. Then what do? Every time, every moment of your life, you are thinking of what? 10 kilos. So what time you wake up, what exercise you do, what you put into your mouth, at what time you eat, everything is geared towards that 10 kilos. And then your goal is to lose that 10 kilos by December. You know what will happen? By July you will achieve it. Because that focus is there. Now what is it? I went to Calcutta and I was offered rasgullas. How can I say no? So I had. Then I thought, after I come back, then I'll go get back on the diet. And then you come back, and then there's Holi coming around. There's a doctor, a diabetologist, who told me one day, he said, my profession is depressing. I said, why? My patients come and I put them on a diet, and the next appointment they come and say, Doctor Ji, I couldn't follow the diet. Why? Shaadi thi ghar mein. How can I not eat? Then next time she comes back and says, Diwali had come. How can I not eat sweets? Then December comes, and something else. So throughout the year, there is something or the other happening. So she says, I can't. So what happens to her blood sugar? Goes soaring. This is our state. If you practice brahmacharya, you fix a goal, all your activities are geared towards that, and you're triumphant at the end of it because you've achieved something. I'm not saying all of you must lose 10 kilos, please. You may have to put on 10 kilos, I don't know what your state is. I'm just saying, fix a goal. So there are 3 stages of development. The highest stage is where the mind is completely under control. There are places where they keep parrots and birds in a cage, and when they keep that bird in the cage for long enough, even when you open the cage, the bird does not fly out. Your mind should be like that. Your intellect has fixed it in one place. It doesn't move, even by itself, even after the control is lifted. Second, the mind is controlled but still has desires. So there is constant supervision of the intellect required, and the mind needs freedom. You need to give it a little freedom. So in the pursuit of spirituality, then you can't just meditate. You have to do study of the Bhagavad Gita, go on for a retreat somewhere to, give yourself that inspiration. You have to do so many things. And then you're ready for it. And the third is the mind has too many desires. So full freedom is given. So you see, in the social hierarchy also, a highly sattvic person in society was not allowed many things. And as you went down to the lowest, full freedom. These guys were allowed to marry multiple times. They were allowed to eat any kind of food, non-veg, veg, everything. They were allowed to have money, they have all of that. Why? Because they understood that they had too many desires. The less desires you have, the less your mind wanders and you're free. You know how nice it is to be like Steve Jobs. You have a fixed wardrobe. Then every morning you don't have to think what should I wear, because you have the same color turtleneck t-shirt, same jeans. Meaning you're not wearing the same. Your entire wardrobe consists of just that. It's fantastic. And then whether you go to a wedding or your office, you're dressed the same. You see what happens nowadays? Somebody else is getting married and you take 15 days off to shop for the wedding. It's a fundamental thing you must understand is everyone is obsessed with themselves. They have no time to look at you. है ना? You put yourself to the test. You go to a wedding tomorrow and the lady that you have spent 2 hours with, any person you have spent 2 hours with, next day you ask, what was I wearing? She won't know. She won't even know the color you were wearing. She won't know the color you were wearing. You know why? Everyone is obsessed with themselves. Then why are you spending so much time, effort and money at getting a trousseau for yourself when you are not even getting married? So that's our condition. So you got a long way to go. Now we'll end with a prayer.
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते।